Today we're going to talk about Chris Tyree, Marcus Major, and Adrian Peterson, and all that's coming up after the bumper.
What do you mean you don't subscribe to my son's YouTube channel?
Mama, no!
Just snap the damn ball, RJ.
What's up, kid folk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always OU related, college football related, sports related. We have a good time, and today we're going to talk about 2025 star running back Chris Tyree, 2019 Oklahoma signee Marcus Major, and the one and only Adrian Peterson, AD to the folks that know from what he was doing at Oklahoma all day. Now, Adrian Peterson is kind of a modern marvel. He's been called a prodigy. He's been called everything but Superman because, well, that nickname is taken by a safety that some of y'all might know of. But he was on Redskins television. I mean, Redskins television on redskins.com. They made a video talking about what he was able to do and how he was able to do it last year, right? He's defying the odds as an old running back, right? And my mans was saying, look, I know that y'all thought I had a good year, but I was thinking I should have had 1,600 yards. That's his mindset. You're also talking about the kind of guy who basically changed what Oklahoma was doing because he was so good running the football. People who have seen Adrian Peterson, people who have seen other running backs agree there is no other Adrian Peterson, and there will be no other Adrian Peterson. Now, making the rounds, Marcus Major is something like Adrian Peterson. Haven't seen a back like Adrian Peterson. Haven't seen a back like Marcus Major getting next to Adrian Peterson. However you want to call it. Adrian Peterson-esque. Adrian Peterson-like. I don't buy that, not because Marcus Major's not an outstanding running back. If you watch his highlight film, all he's doing is breaking tackles. All he's doing is running over children. And that seems like the kind of runner that people associate with Adrian Peterson. Stiff arms here, stiff arms there. Did not shy away from contact. But to say that a kid is going to be Adrian Peterson-esque is to say that he's going to arrive and immediately ascend to the top of the depth chart. And at Oklahoma, that means Marcus Major would have to be a better running back than TJ Pledger. He'd have to be a better running back than Ramondre Stevenson. He'd have to be a better running back than Kennedy Brooks. And he'd have to be a better running back than Trey Sermon. And then would have to be so good that Lincoln Riley would go away from his pro-raid offense and basically say, we're going to run a true blue tailback offense and we're going to make this kid the feature back. I don't see that happening. Not just for Marcus Major, but for anybody in college football. Now, you can say that the way that offense is played today, the value of the running back position has gone through the floor. Particularly if you look at the professional level, where many people believe that Todd Gurley, myself included, was a surefire MVP winner, not just MVP-esque. And then you could talk about his knee. You could talk about maybe he just fell out of favor with Sean McVay. And Fat CJ Anderson was doing pretty good, making the job look simple. And then Pat Mahomes did his version of Captain Marvel, did a light show, lighting up the scoreboard. But you look around the league, and it wasn't like the Pittsburgh Steelers missed Le'Veon Bell, chose to sit out rather than take the wear and tear. And James Conner stepped up and had an outstanding year. And you can look at this all around the league. Kareem Hunt goes down. Damian Williams steps up. Damian Williams earned a contract. You can find running backs, just like you can find the third point guard in the NBA. And the same is true for the most part in the college football level. But because most of the offenses are all about outsmarting the defenses and exploiting what they give them, you're not necessarily going to pound it with one guy, especially since you have 3 5-star wide receivers at Oklahoma who are just true freshmen. And you got CeeDee Lamb on the outside, Grant Calcaterra. You know what's at Oklahoma. So to label a kid Adrian Peterson like, maybe, but I don't want to do that to any kid. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that he's going to be a lot like Adrian Peterson. Now, I am going to tell you that the comp might be a guy that runs similar to Adrian Peterson, and you got bruisers all over college football. From that standpoint, I don't see anything wrong with saying that he's Adrian Peterson-esque, but when you use AD's name, you got to know it's going to come with all the baggage that comes with AD, which is that he was a man amongst boys, even when he's playing against men. You know, the what he was able to do in the NFL is one thing. What he was able to do at college level, man walks up to Matt Leinart and has to say, give me my Heisman. Because he was just that good. Now, in Marcus Major, you have a true blue running back. You have a tailback. You have a kid for which you might line him up and say, we're going to pound on you. Same thing could be said about Trey Sermon. To a degree, Kennedy Brooks. And then you look at the 2020 class, Jase McClellan, 5-star running back. He kind of fits that mold too. He's a power runner. He's going to truck you. He can run away from you, but he's also just so strong. And to see that dude is to see a kid that is absolutely put together, as my dad would say. And that's what makes Chris Tyree so interesting from an Oklahoma standpoint. Now, you could talk about perhaps Seth McGowan, but he fits into that Jase McClellan mold, and we know that they're taking at least 2 running backs, maybe 3. But you look at Chris Tyree, and you know that this is one of the fastest running backs in high school football, and he's got the track speed to prove it. He's one of the top 55, 60-meter dash performers at the national level, and everybody has already offered this kid. You know, Charles Huff and Steve Sarkisian are on it for Alabama. He seems to be on the up and up with Notre Dame, and as an East Coast kid, that makes a lot of sense. I don't necessarily think it's out of the question for Oklahoma to get him, but I do think that you would like to pair Jase McClellan with somebody who is comfortable catching the ball out of the backfield, and that's something that Chris Tyree can do. Now, he can also be a tailback because he is so fast, but because he's so fast and he's so good with his hands, you could see him splitting out. You could see him doing what DeMarco Murray was doing. You could see him doing what Joe Mixon was doing because he has that kind of speed. I mean, he plays defensive back, corner specifically, on the other side of the ball for his high school team, and he's got the quick twitch to do it, and he's got the ball skills to do it. And I think that's the kind of kid that you might want to pursue just a little bit harder if you know you got Jase McClellan waiting there, and that kid's been committed for a long time now. But because this running back class is so loaded, and Oklahoma has their hands in all of these different running backs, it's going to be interesting to see which one is likely to commit, right? Because you had Jalen Knight, and he must have seen something or knew that they wanted to do something, right? So he starts to decommit and reopen his recruitment, and I don't see it as out of the question for him to come back to Oklahoma. But obviously, if you can get Chris Tyree, you're going to take Chris Tyree. It's just that simple. And I get back to this when I talk about Savion Morrison, who is a hometown kid for me, and I really want to see him do well, and I'm interested to see where he ends up going. And that's also what you're working with here. Marcus Major is a home state kid, right? One of the better prospects in the 2018 class, especially on the offensive side of the ball. So between Chris Tyree getting to campus and what Marcus Major could do, I'm looking for the next kid to be at Oklahoma to play running back that is really just comfortable catching the ball out of the backfield. And I think that's what you're missing in a Lincoln Riley offense if that's how you want to fill it out. And I think that's what he does want to do. All right, that's it for me. Deuces.